pathetic that you British still believe you have the right to police the world.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Kill James Bond. We're finally doing the ideology one, the magic car one. We're doing Die Another Day. I am Alice Caldwell-Kelly. Joining me are Abigail Thorne, Devon, and friend of the show, trash futurist Riley Quinn.
Hello.
Riley, how's it going?
It's going very well. Ever since I watched this movie, I've been muttering to myself just these two simple words, Sigmund Freud, under my breath from the theme song.
Since I saw this movie, my life has not known peace.
Analyze this.
Yeah, very excited to talk about this fucking video game movie that they made. I don't know what's going on. This is the worst shit I've seen in quite some time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like even from second one of this movie, you know it's going to be weird because the CGI plague that infected movies of this period has got to the gun barrel sequence. And so now when your boy Pierce Brosnan walks across the gun barrel and then shoots into the thing, a little horrible CGI bullet, a fucking like JPEG with like 4 pixels, like whizzes past with a little whoosh sound effect and shoots you, the viewer, in the face.
Why?
Obviously,
why does the bullet go down the gun barrel?
Yeah,
because
that
he's
wouldn't
shooting
be
you
a
through the
deadly
gun.
shot.
He shoots you through the gun, and then because I'm a fan of cinema, and I get very scared when I see the train coming towards me. I did fear that I was going to be killed at this point, but thankfully that's not the case.
Yeah, I had on my 3D glasses, the sort of like blue and green, whatever.
Would have saved you from watching the rest of the movie.
Jesus.
Yeah, this movie actually kills you.
I made the Minecraft guy taking damage noise when the bullet came down the gun barrel.
Yeah. But no, first we have to do a pre-credit sequence, a pre-title sequence, which we're in. Do you remember the video game Splinter Cell?
Of
because
course.
this movie sure does. James Bond's is infiltrating North Korea with a couple of, like, I guess, South Korean commando guys.
How is he going to get there, Alice?
The way in which he gets there. Well, the thing is, we've talked about before how Bond movies have this like dichotomy. It has this like separation between extreme sports, where it's either a wet sports movie or it's a cold sports movie. This manages to be both, but for now we're in the wet sports zone. So these guys surf in over the most gelatin-looking CGI water you've seen in your life.
I mean, do you just want to imagine for a moment, like, the cast of this movie in their little green morph suits sitting in their like green production studio?
Oh yeah. They had to fit Pierce Brosnan into a green like Zentai costume for this.
Yeah, great.
Absolutely. Also, I very badly want the episode art for this to be the first shot we see of Pierce Brosnan, which is him in his fucking little Splinter Cell goggles. I appreciate that a lot. He's just wearing like a CRT monitor on his head.
So Alice,
there's a lot going on.
Not just Alice, just because you're talking, but I have a question for the team here, right? We've been talking in the group DM a little bit about what is this movie? Is it Bond trying to be Vin Diesel in Triple X? Is it Bond being what is a proto Marvel movie? Or
kind of.
Was it Bond being like as imagined by Uwe Boll?
It's real bad.
It's all of those things simultaneously.
What a great movie.
I think it's Bond trying to be Bond, because this is the 20th James Bond film and it's just constantly sucking itself off about that.
Are you right?
This is Bond
You're
squared.
right. It is a long self-suck.
Oh, it's the hardest they've tried to Bond in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. But there is, so like this movie loves some technology, right? So Bond and his two friends surf into North Korean territory.
If I may say one more thing, because just to sort of build on Abby's point there, which is that you know how much this movie loves sucking off that it's a Bond? That in the scene where James Bond is walking around a guy's office holding a book, he's holding the Field Guide to Birds, the book written by James Bond.
Yes.
We'll get to that. We'll get 100%. To that. There's a bunch of shit. But so this movie loves technology. So they have a secret compartment in the surfboard where they keep all of their gadgets and shit. They use as a sort of a transmitter what I can only describe as an umbrella knife. Like, one of the guys just stabs this thing into the ground and it works as an antenna, but it's clearly an umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, they jack a chopper. They jack a chopper and a briefcase full of diamonds, and they fill it full of C4.
Yeah, they take this chopper away from Jerk van der Klerk, this South African conflict diamonds dealer who is in North Korea to trade those diamonds.
That's an awful.
Wait, fuck! I fucked that up.
That's awful.
That's an awful lot of ice, bitch.
There you go.
That's an awful movie.
This is also one of the most filmed during the day and then blue filter put on night scenes ever. It's so bad.
Oh, it's so blue graded. Yeah, no, absolutely. Also, the least Korean looking place in the world. This is all Surrey. He removes Jerk van der Klerk from the chopper, impersonates Jerk van der Klerk, doesn't even do the accent. And he's going to go and do the deal with the North Koreans for these diamonds and then blow them up when they least expect it. So
we're invading a sovereign nation and assassinating its military personnel.
Yes.
Standard James Bond shit.
So he flies to this guy, Colonel Moon's headquarters. And if you recall, Max Zorin from View to a Kill had a computer that identified James Bond. That was the computer that he found indispensable. He just kind of typed Bond into it and it went, oh shit, that's James Bond.
Yeah.
Now that we're in the future, this has been compressed into a Samsung phone. And so immediately the second Bond gets off the chopper, a guy just points his phone at him and the phone goes, yo, that's James Bond.
This man is fully a British agent. And they're like, interesting.
Yeah, straight away. When we see Colonel Moon for the first time, he is punching a punching bag and then unzips the punching bag and there's a guy inside. And then he says, find me a new anger therapist.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Colonel Moon's superpower, as we will see, is getting very mad. He's sort of like a Kyle figure. He's a lot of holes in drywall.
What movie I want to see? I want to see the movie about Colonel Moon and his anger therapist as Analyze This 3. I think that's a fun movie contained that's seated within this movie.
So Bond goes to talk with Colonel Moon, the guy the henchman who identifies Bond on the identigraph immediately is called Zhao, by the way. This will be important later. So he talks to him, and again this movie does the thing of oh, this guy, you think he's foreign, but actually he went to Oxford. And the line is,
I studied at Oxford and Harvard, majored in Western hypocrisy.
This is, by my count, the third time in the franchise that they've done this. They did it with Cameron Shah in The Living Daylights.
Definitely,
and they did it with the Bedouin guy that Roger Moore says, "May the light of Allah bless your tent." So it's this.
This time it's a bad guy though.
Honestly, you couldn't get James Bond saying that these days. Imagine if
that's
fucking
true.
halfway through No Time to Die, Daniel Craig said the full Shahada. You can't pass it.
Remember when James Bond was odd?
Yeah,
we're not spoiling No Time to Die
honestly,
on this episode.
I feel like this is interesting, right? Because the British the British sort of thriller genre, or whatever kind of the colonial thriller, always loves to give you the character, either the antagonist or the protagonist's helper, which is kind of like the fictionalized version of someone like Lee Kuan Yew, who, when he was studying in Britain, was Harry Lee, or the best bloody Englishman from east of the Suez, how he was called.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, it's this thing of you think he's foreign, but he's actually smart. But the way in which he's smart is he was educated here, which means we still get some prestige off of it.
Of course. No stupid person's ever done those two things.
No,
He's got a whole bunch of hovercrafts. He's got a bunch of hovercrafts
and a bunch of
over the
weapons.
mines.
You get those when you go to Oxford. It's part of what you get with your diplomas. You get 3 or 4 hovercrafts. Most people crash them.
That's what he's dealing the weapons for, and it's not really clear why he wants the diamonds, but he's selling these hovercrafts that are useful to him because you could get over the mines and the demilitarized zone that the Americans laid between North and South Korea. In which case, not sure why he's selling them, but anyway, this sort of like used hovercraft salesman.
He's a Florida guy.
I presumed that he was building a space laser.
That's true. But Bond at this point pulls some, you claim to communism and yet Venezuela bottom text, because he sees that Colonel Moon has some very nice sports cars.
Yeah.
He has like a Ferrari and shit.
Why there?
And I don't know. Just so you can put him on a hovercraft.
In the middle of my military base.
Yeah.
Got some fucking Ferraris.
Yeah, and he makes some little sarcastic comment about, this is very communist of you to have a very fast car, and Google Venezuela. I'm not sure why I'm making Brosnan more in this one, but he's kind of more smarmy in this one.
Not sure why the filmmakers did either.
No, he's at his most more in the previous movie.
Anyway, he immediately gets found out.
Yes, yeah.
Non-stop.
Zhao just, pulls his boss aside and is like, yeah, no, that's James Bond, British assassin. So they take Bond captive. Bond uses his fucking shitty watch once again to detonate the briefcase full of diamonds. In the course of which Zhao gets a shitload of diamonds like raked across his face.
Or someone was trying to charge their James Bond identification computer.
Whoa.
Thank you.
I was trying to charge my Samsung Galaxy Tab. So Bond hijacks a hovercraft and tries to escape across the DMZ, and we get a chase scene with Colonel Moon.
We get a chase scene in the DMZ.
Yeah, we get
it's
a chase
barely
scene.
even worth talking about. Like, it just happened. It's a Bond chase scene.
The only thing that I wrote down is like he's setting off explosives and like firing guns and shit. Like, how is he not starting World War III doing this in the DMZ? Like, why wouldn't anyone else in North Korea assume that it was just the Americans? And like specifically, we see Colonel Moon's dad, General Moon, who is kind of a helicopter parent, to be honest, immediately call his kid and go, yo, why is James Bond blowing up your entire shit? I'll be right there.
Genuinely. There's a couple of notes, nothing particularly interesting. Like, they're talking Korean throughout when they're talking to each other, but for some reason, Zhao's line to Moon when he does figure out who Bond is in English, where he's like, that's James Bond, we're going to have to kill him. I'm like, why would...
No.
Out of everything, why would you not say that?
Just to give him a fighting chance.
They didn't want to fucking put it into hunger.
So, yeah, no, they chase them through the thing. Bond drives Moon's hovercraft over the edge of a giant waterfall. It like catches himself on a giant temple bell, which they definitely have in the demilitarized zone. Says saved by the bell, and then immediately and justly gets captured by North Korea.
Fully instantly captured.
Just instantly captured.
And tortured.
And tortured.
I have one more thing I noted in my notes, which is when Zhao takes the diamond. Sorry, I'm going back a second. I saw this in my notes. Is that Bond does say don't blow it all at once, but then it doesn't explode when he wants it to. So he does. He does have a failed quip.
He's got loads in this.
It's like a ruined quip.
Many.
Yeah. Come
on.
At this point, we have to talk about the opening sequence.
I don't think we do.
By the way, the scenes thing that I used to do this says that the script describes this setting as dank room, which I appreciate.
It is a dank room. There's a lot of scorpions in it. I don't know.
This is the first time they've used the titles to actually show us some plot, because we just have a montage of Bond being tortured, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, he's tortured by a sexy Korean lady, hello.
And it
wearing
is
like an officer's uniform. It's cool. And it's set
some
to
bad music.
Madonna's Die Another Day.
The first genuine flop of a Bond theme, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I've had some complaints about previous ones, but this is dire.
It really is horrible.
It's extremely 2002 pop music is what it is. Like, they couldn't have made a different kind of song for this. It just happens to be that things have confluenced at the point. It's bad.
Well, if
it's
you remember,
bad.
right, what happened is it sort of took to the mid to late 2000s for R&B and dance music to redefine what pop music would be. Because in the 1990s, pop music was like, a lot of pop music was like boy and girl groups before that, or it was like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, we nearly got like the S Club 7 opening theme. Yeah,
well, I think it's what happened is we were after sort of after 90s
S
pop.
Club 007, thank you.
Perfect, no notes.
All right, I'll change the group chat now. Go on.
It was in the middle of it was in this interregnum between what pop was and what it was going to be, and it's just this perfect this perfect, almost preserved in amber artifact of pop music figuring itself out.
It's bad.
So what they do to Bond during this is it's almost presented as Bond is like fantasizing about sexy women while he's being tortured, and that's where the title "Sexy Ladies"
That's
comes
how
from.
he stays grounded
I mean,
and centered.
He survives torture by getting insanely horny. They're like, we can't break him. He's getting dome in his head.
He's getting like burnt with hot iron, and he's just imagining hot women. It's so
when I'm getting tortured, I don't have to imagine the hot women.
Pussy.
Yeah, that's true. He retreats to the pussy mind palace. What they're doing to him at this point is
I'll change the name of the group chat.
No,
they're dunking him in ice cold water, and then this sexy lady is like stinging him with scorpions. It's weird.
There's a reference to like that he's being stung with scorpions and given the poison, and there's a reference to him being poisoned and possibly not given an antidote later that goes nowhere. I seriously think it was an error in the script.
Yeah. So immediately after this, it's 18 months later. Bond has grown a massive beard.
He looks
his
great.
hair is shoulder length.
Castaway
Looks
Bond.
fantastic.
Yeah, he's still ripped, like he's not emaciated at all, which very funny.
Interestingly, this isn't actually Castaway Bond. What it is I don't know how you familiar you are with the filmography of Steven Seagal, but we first saw this in Hard to Kill. Like that exact sequence is from Seagal, essentially from a Seagal movie where you just wake up with a shitty beard.
Because Bond is tough, right? He hasn't broken. He hasn't given them anything. And he's brought in to see General Moon, who is like, I actually don't like torture because I'm like ambivalent about it because I'm basically a good guy. And, I'm the bit of the movie that's less racist than you might expect about
I'm the
Korea.
one good North Korean that we contractually have to have in the plot.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not as fun as like the fun Soviet guy, but like I'm basically cool.
Oh god,
anyway,
he's Korean Gogol, isn't he? Yeah, you're right.
He is kind of Korean Gogol, and I will be calling him that from now on. So like, Bond at this point goes, you should tell the concierge, and laughs at his own quip, which absolutely validates, I think it was Abby's theory, that he is just doing the quips as a coping mechanism. He's just doing this to himself. And when nobody's laughing, he's laughing. He's the damn
He's
Joker.
imagining hot women and he's doing quips to himself. If you had a single POV shot of him in here, it would just be like a bunch of hot women across from
My man is getting dome the likes of which you can't imagine in his head. He's getting stately pleasure dome. So General Moon then goes, well, it's out of my hands. I'm going to make you think that I'm going to kill you because you gave the hardliners in North Korea a reason to think that they can't trust the West.
Why on earth would anyone have that opinion?
Reasons unclear.
Yeah.
So Bond gets mock executed, right? Like they put a firing squad at him in front of a bridge. General Moon tells him to start walking, and he thinks he's going to be killed. But he's like envisioning too much pussy to care.
Yeah.
But no, he's actually being traded for Zhao, who like meets him in the middle of the bridge. Zhao is being traded back to the north. Bond is being traded back to the south in a classic spy swap.
Yeah. Zhao looks great. Zhao's still got like diamonds embedded in his face, and at this point I wrote
of diamonds.
Zhao holds you personally responsible for how sick nasty he looks, James. He will never forgive you for this. Like,
yes. Bond gets to the South Korean side, whereupon he is immediately like injected with drugs like a fucking Astroworld attendee. Just immediately laid the fuck out. And he wakes up.
And then he gets put in a Star Wars medical scanner?
Yeah, he wakes up in the Kolto tank. And they do some tests on him. That's where you get the line about them injecting him with scorpion venom and then injecting him with the anti-venom.
Yeah, I wrote, James, wake up. 9/11 has happened.
Yes,
he goes,
oh no.
Yes.
That's the thrust of this conversation, because M comes in and she talks to him at first from behind like a glass partition, and she tells him, while you're in North Korea, you were unable to prevent 9/11.
Yeah. Actually, if you'd paid attention to the literature, you'd know Bond couldn't have prevented 9/11 because he was in a North Korean torture facility.
While you were getting your dick stung by scorpions, 19 guys flew some planes into
We
towers.
sent 009 to try to stop it. Jesus Christ. He did not succeed.
While you were getting like phantom pussy, like fucking the Dan Aykroyd in Ghostbusters, some major shit happened.
Also, like how on earth would that have been filmed? Because you have to imagine, right? They are filming this primarily in like late 2000, early 2001. They're at this point in like editing for release in 2002, maybe road showing it.
Like the line is relatively vague. Like all the line is
while you were away, the world changed.
In that 9/11 happened.
And
but like
I just imagine, I imagine like Judi Dench having to like put on the makeup again. James like Pierce Brosnan having to get all ready again. It's like, well, we have to account for 9/11.
Fake beard back to him for like 3 hours in order to have him react to 9/11. But
there's something genuinely funny. Like if you go to the Die Another Day Wikipedia page and you look at the plot, the line "the world has changed" is quoted and in blue, and if you hover over it, it links to the September 11 attacks Wikipedia article with a picture of fucking
James Bond wiki and 9/11
on the phone. Amazing.
Great. Fantastic. So
anyway,
M has quite a hostile conversation with him. We're almost back to the sort of like level of previous M, where we're like, Bond, I wish you'd die of adult onset sudden infant death syndrome. She literally tells him like,
if I'd had my way, you'd still be in North Korea.
Which is a tremendously funny thing to say to anyone at any time.
She also is just like, well, why didn't you kill yourself? Like she goes, you had your cyanide, and he's like, I threw it away years ago. So like we're getting M is like, fuck you, Bond. Why aren't you dead? How are you here still?
But we get a genuinely quite interesting premise. Because M says, I would have left you there, but the Americans insisted that you get out because the top American spy in North Korea was executed last week, and the Americans intercepted a signal from your prison naming him. So they say, Bond, you cracked under torture. During the title sequence while Madonna was playing, you didn't know what you were saying because you were full of scorpion venom and imaginary pussy. So you cracked under torture.
Yes.
You cracked and you named the spy. And Bond's like, no, I didn't. Somebody's pulling the strings. Somebody told Zhao who I was when he Googled me when I arrived. Somebody's behind this. And M's like, I don't believe you. You fucked up. Like, and I think that's a genuinely interesting premise, is James Bond going on to like find out whether he really cracked or not.
Would be more interesting if he had actually broken under torture. But like, of course, Bond is too perfect to break under torture.
Well, another genuinely interesting plot thread is M being like, no, to me, you should have died there. There was no way I was going to save you. You should have just taken your cyanide and died. And that is a plot thread that won't be explored satisfyingly until Skyfall. When they remember
when you saved my life from the bald guy in the immediately previous movie to this. This has gained you absolutely no credit with me. I wish you were fucking dead, and that's cool. So Bond at this point, does
samurai shit?
Can you explain to me what happens?
What Bond does is he imagines so much pussy that he stops his own heart. He like deliberately puts himself into a cardiac arrest by means of like willpower.
Has this ever been explored as an ability that Bond has before or since?
No, he's just doing like Wim Hof breathing, and he like thinks about pussy too much.
Do it though? Do you remember who can do it? Inspector Fung Sing Ling, the man from Hong Kong.
Oh my god,
fuck.
he can.
Do you not remember he
Shit,
did
you're
it
right.
when he went to see that vet?
He did.
You're right.
Oh, Jesus
Fucking
Christ.
hell. Jesus. Okay. Well, anyway, he uses this
I
thing
gotta
that he
rewatch Man
learned
from Hong Kong.
from a Hong Kong police inspector a long time ago, which leads the medical team to rush in to defibrillate him. Bond immediately stops Wim Hof breathing, wakes up, heart rate
Punches
rockets
the
back
shit
up.
out of a doctor.
No, he doesn't punch the doctor. What he does is there are two doctors and a nurse. The nurse gives him mouth to mouth for a bit, and then he grabs the defibrillator pads and hits one doctor with one defibrillator pad
Killing
each.
them
And
instantly.
and
My
what
God, he does.
happens when you are hit with a
Yeah,
defibrillator
fully
pad
killing
is
these
you fall down and you go, oof. And that's what these guys do.
You take
see them
so
be like,
much
oh,
damage.
Yeah,
ow,
it does
oh,
25
that
points
smarts.
of electrical damage,
Oh,
and then you're
oh,
fine.
Fuck.
This would do
But-
serious damage to these people.
They would be dead.
Devastating attack.
Bond
He'll be
murders
dead
two men.
forever.
Yeah, no, it's bad.
Absolutely. But Bond then sexually harasses this nurse. He's like, thanks for the kiss of life. Simply leaves.
Mhm.
He simply books it. He's on a Royal Navy destroyer because the Royal Navy is cool,
Mhm.
and he it's in Hong Kong. He swims
Why?
across the harbor. I don't know.
How? Also,
I don't know.
handovers happened. You can't
Well,
just
anyway.
sail a destroyer into someone else's territorial waters.
He swims across Hong Kong harbor, gets out at the Hong Kong Yacht Club where he's wearing like patient scrubs. He's covered in hair, and he in what is meant to be a sort of a comic scene, he walks across the lobby and is just like, oh, give me the presidential suite as usual. To the
fine.
guy.
It's quite
So you know what
funny.
this is? This is Bondany Dangerfield at this point. Because the stuck up concierge is like, we would never rent the presidential suite to a ragamuffin such as yourself. Who is then, of course, the manager, the big guy, steps
Mr.
in and
Chang,
Mr.
yes.
Chang, and is like, "You idiot! This is James Bond," and it's pure Caddyshack. That particular
Yeah,
scene.
absolutely. So Chang, of course, remembers Bond. He opens the presidential suite for him. He gets him his fucking suits. He reactivates Bond mode. He shaves off his entire fucking beard in one go with just an electric razor and no scissors.
Yeah, and the electric razor is clearly sponsored content because he holds it in front of the camera and gently rotates it for like 5 full seconds.
And at this point,
Real
it's at
bad.
this point that I had written down.
Sinclair's 007. It's called The Lawnmower.
This movie was slightly less racist about Korea than I remembered. Therefore, we must be in for some real racism. And so Bond opens the door to
I am peaceful fountains of desire, the masseuse.
Peaceful Fountains of Desire, the masseuse.
Yep. What a regular. You know, you could just ask someone what their name is.
Thing about Chinese
writing
people is
this
that they
movie.
are regularly named things like Peaceful Fountains of Desire, the masseuse. I'm pretty certain of this.
I don't know.
Haven't
I
checked.
took this as like this is just like she performs this for guests.
I
Like
guess.
it's kind of in
but
universe, slightly inappropriate. You know.
we already had a mere 2 movies ago a very competent Chinese secret agent that Bond has worked with before. Anyway, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Never want to bring any of those guys. But it's the same as
Never,
like
yes.
whenever they had a Soviet
00
agent, they
or
never
whatever.
used Agent XXX again.
Triple
yeah.
X, that's the one, yeah. It's
Yeah,
fucked up.
so Bond, she tries to seduce Bond. Bond sees immediately that she has a dick bulge, or in this case, like a gun.
Did you
pulls
get
that on her.
the drop of her saying, lie down on the bed face down?
No, sadly not.
So, could you please activate your glowing wheat spot, Mr. Bond?
Oh, just conceptualize that, audience. Thank you.
Just go into your mind palace and think about a woman telling you to lie down on the bed. Bond then throws this gun through a mirror
Fucking
to
hell.
reveal Chang and a bunch of other guys like recording him because they're Chinese intelligence.
Yeah, to which
and
I
he
wrote,
knew
this
it
is a
all
lot
along.
like when I was recorded having sex in a hotel room in fucking...
Yeah, by Rosa Klebb, whose shoe I
From
see
Russia with
smell
Love.
in
I'll
this
fall into
movie.
that one again.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
it, from Russia with Love.
Absolutely. When I was the same guy.
When
so
I was
he
the same guy.
he tells Chang, okay, listen, right? You want Zhao because the reason why Zhao is in jail in South Korea is because he had killed some Chinese agents trying to do peace talks. So you should sponsor me to go and kill him. And this is very funny because Bond's response to being accused of treason is to immediately go and do some treason.
Yeah, it's cool. It's so good.
Yeah.
James Bond based, James Bond now agent of the People's Republic of China. I mean, at this point he is just on the payroll, right? Like he's working for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he's at least like they're doing it for the hotel room, and they give him a passport. And
They say communists don't know how to have fun.
they say Zhao is in Havana, so go. And Chang has a cool line where he's like, if you see Mr. Zhao, please tell him goodbye from us, which is quite cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Chang so far one of the coolest characters in this film. I think carries himself with a real sort of quiet intensity.
He's the only one who acts like a spy at all.
100%. But also Bond is you know what he is. He's got Tory MP brain because all you need to do to get him to be a traitor to his country. Like that he's like sworn to be an agent for is be like, here's a nice hotel room and a meal.
Here's a branded razor, an electric razor.
I will do anything for you.
There's a membership of the Jockey Club.
Some tiny furniture. So of course Bond going to next location is Havana, and that means we have to get some Havana music, which is some, Spanish guitar.
Yeah, I also wrote down Cuban music.
Yeah,
how would you
Cuban
know?
Music. And Bond goes to visit Zukovsky Brackett's Cuban, a guy called Raul.
Oh my God, you're right.
guy.
It is just Zukovsky.
Who is like a sort of a deep cover MI6 agent, but like who hasn't been reactivated for years. And he has a fascinating line, right? Because Bond tries to find Zhao, right? And he said, and Raul tells him, he's on this. He says, "There's a strange clinic." There's
a strange clinic.
It's a lot like the clinic that makes you gay from Never Say Never Again.
I hear that they're very good strange clinics in Cuba.
Use hormones to make them all male.
There is a strange clinic.
I want the operation done tonight.
Stop it.
Senor. There's no time left. But Senor Blofeld, this is a most delicate procedure. It's gonna tonight.
So this is, incidentally, this is not literally. Oh, I'm having a great time.
You're right that this is just a Bond movie about Bond movies. They're just kind of remixing and replaying, like more than in any previous one. They're just remixing and replaying.
There is a reason why we've been doing the "when I was the same guy" joke, and it's because that all of these are remixes. But also this clinic, this strange clinic, is literally on a place called Isla de los Órganos. If you want to just sort of the level of the subtlety that we were at here. And Raul says,
we may have lost our freedom in the revolution, but we have a health system second to none.
Heavy accent
You lost your
swap
freedom.
there.
You
freedom
Oh, no,
to
the
lost
rich
your
guy.
freedom in the revolution, did you?
This man
Do
didn't
what?
lose enough in the fucking revolution, I'll tell you that for a fact. The revolution
he's
is
running like a
incomplete while
cigar
this guy's still doing
factory.
it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I really missed the days where we had all that freedom under Batista.
I used to have to pay these people.
Kill James Bond.
Sorry, I now.
Kill James Bond, uncritically supporting the Cuban People's
That's
Revolution.
right.
These Castro dick riders are gaslighting Cubans. We won't stand for it.
Jean-Luc Piccorgi's going to fucking at us again over that one.
So
Get wrecked.
absolutely. So
All glory to the
Bond
People's
goes.
Republic.
Bond goes to the strange clinic, and he goes to the coast where you get a boat.
If
to the
I may
strange
say
clinic.
one small thing.
Oh, why not?
This is what the conversation between Raul and Bond, right? Where they talk about Zhao. I thought that was really interesting because they talk about how Zhao is motivated by no ideology, basically not even wealth. He just more or less loves evil, which is
like
dude's
Renard.
rock.
Yeah. He's an agent of chaos. He's a nihilist. He's going to piss on Bond's rug.
But the thing is, when we talked about, I mean, I don't want to. When we talked about like sort of terrorism and how Blairism thought about terrorists, this is the Blairite vision of what a terrorist was. Someone from elsewhere who is motivated by nothing but anti-ness, right? Nothing but evil, nothing but a desire to destroy.
Yeah, haters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's purely a hater, and there is nothing else motivating him. And it's like, in addition to all the other stuff, this is the most Blairite Bond villain I think that we've seen in a while.
So Bond.
There is a moment in the opening scene with Colonel Moon where Moon says to Bond, you will live to see the day when all Korea is ruled by the North. That's supposed to be his driving animus. And that's like a really weird way of phrasing it because as I understand it, like the North Koreans like wouldn't even really express it in those terms.
No, it's
like
reunification, yeah.
Well, it's
yeah,
one
I think
country.
like, there isn't a fucking North Korea and a South Korea. There's a fucking like Korea.
Yeah, there's a Korea and a best Korea.
Yeah, my notes say, "How did Korea get divided?" ? Doesn't matter. We're not going to address it.
Uninterested.
So like, yeah, they do try and give him some justification, but it is really weird. And you're right, Ronnie, that Zhao is just like in it for the
Moon
lols.
has justification, but Zhao is he's the guy that's like the Blairite terrorist.
Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Diamond Joker.
Twisted.
So Bond goes to this hotel by the island. There he sees Jerk Vanderklerk again, who is being very South African. And like,
Is it the same guy?
I'm not sure if it is. All South Africans, all Africans,
only one South
white
African.
South Africans, the same
There's just
guy.
one of them.
It's the
It's
same guy.
Pianovelli.
It's Pianovelli. It's Oscar Pistorius. It's the same man.
Bond girl brackets bad. Oh no, brackets good. This is brackets good Bond girl for this one. There are two.
Mm-hmm.
Pay him
She
attention.
does the. It's Halle
It's
Berry
Halle
coming out of the
Berry.
ocean doing a Honey Rider
Looking phenomenal.
thing.
You know,
Because
no notes.
sucking her own dicks.
Yeah, her name is Jinx, and at this point, Pierce Brosnan forgets what accent James Bond has. So I clipped this fantastic line read.
My friends call me James Bond. Jinx, you say?
Jinx, you say? Delightful
Yes.
in warning
Wonderful.
James Bond.
Why?
Yeah,
Have you seen the wonders of the motor car?
Los
Jinx
Angeles,
and Bond
California.
have a conversation which is just, it's couched in so much, they're flirting, but also they're both like, they're sort of both aware that they're spies, but the effect of it is that it's just two Chinese rooms conversing. Like, it bears
It
no
is. It's like two chatbots flirting with each other.
legitimately no line bears any relation to any other. It's very,
Yeah, they talk
very
about like
interesting.
predators and prey a lot, and then
Only predators come out at night, and when they come out, they feast at nighttime.
it's sort of like Bond has here been written by a Markov chain. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Devin, I think your characteristic of this as two Chinese rooms interacting with one another is basically perfect. Like, this scene does not pass a Turing test at all.
And
God,
what
no.
do predators do at night? Jinx says they feast like there's no tomorrow,
Do
and
they?
then they fuck. I no, they sleep mostly, I think. But like,
Yeah.
no, but Bond and Jinx fuck.
2:24 on the pussy clock. So that is, it's faster than Goldfinger was. So it's a very, very quick time, but it's still nowhere near Roger Moore's record of 52
I
seconds.
appreciate Bond's sort of like tradecraft here of going to location and immediately laser focusing on the nearest woman, and then just like having sex with her.
She even says, like, "Are you always this frisky?" And he says, "I've missed the touch of a good woman." And then she does knife.
Yeah.
throw.
Yeah, during this scene, Jinx eats a fig, and it's worth noting that during the filming of this scene, Halle Berry choked on this fig, requiring Pierce Brosnan to perform the Heimlich
no.
maneuver.
Oh no.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I also wrote down here, this is a lot like that other time I had sex with a black female CIA agent when I was the same guy. Hopefully it won't end that badly.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So Bond then has to like devise a way onto the island of organs, and the way in which he does this
It's good.
this
is so good.
I wrote down in all caps, ableist James Bond. I will be talking about this scene for the next hour. Bond goes to Jerk Vanderklerk's room with a wheelchair, and Jerk Vanderklerk says, "I don't need a wheelchair," and Bond says, "Oh, now you do," and punches him unconscious, puts him in the wheelchair, and then like uses that as like his cover to get onto the island.
We have seen Jerk Vanderklerk be an asshole in a previous scene,
Yes.
so it's
Yeah.
like kind of
And
justified.
where is J.W. Pepper? Yeah.
Yes.
Where is he? There's a woman in lingerie on his bed who is just there as a prop.
Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, hi." She doesn't seem perturbed by any of this at all. So Bond infiltrates Organ Island, and then in order to get through a doorway which has two guys guarding it, he does the best maneuver in the whole fucking
Before
series.
you say what it is, I want to note here that they give this spy music like it's impressive.
Da, 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 da.
Da-da-da-da!
Spinning 007 as he does what?
What he does is he takes the wheelchair with the guy, he like goes off a ways, turns him around, and then he just perfectly rolls the guy in the wheelchair across the corridor so that he falls out of it.
He hits
Dun,
the wall
dun,
and falls
And the
over.
guards run to check on him. There is a perfect gif of this. There is a perfect still of Pierce Brosnan still like, like a wind sprint position after like throwing this guy. It's perfect. It's
Incredible.
wonderful.
It's perfect.
Bond not only like uses a villain's disability against them here, he invents a villain's disability and uses that against someone else.
It's genuinely the natural evolution of ableist Bond is to start creating the illnesses that you exploit.
Absolutely. So we see that Jinx and Bond are infiltrating the hospital at the same time separately. Jinx is trying to kill the like lead doctor, whose name is Alvarez. Bond is looking for Zhao. And what they independently discover is that this is the clinic that makes you white.
Oh.
Yep.
It was founded by the scientist Yakub in Central America in prehistoric times.
And it uses orgone energy. Yeah. Duh.
Yeah.
Why did he do it? Yakub, come on, man.
He sees Zhao in there getting gene replacement therapy, which is they suck out all of your bone marrow and then replace it with white people bone marrow, and that makes you white.
Yes.
Yeah, we see a little thing on a computer readout where it's like what Zhao currently looks like versus what they are going to turn him into. And
Yes.
you only see it for a second, but the guy they're going to turn him into just looks exactly like Owen Jones. Which is
Yeah, very funny.
The clinic
very
that
funny.
makes you Owen Jones. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Clinic that makes you Owen Jones.
It explains a
Frankly,
lot.
I've
that
met Owen Jones, and he has never yet confirmed to me that he
So
is
have
not
I.
a North Korean man in disguise. So impossible to know.
Diamonds in his face.
I think this would explain, I think a lot of sort of people that like to angrily quote tweet him and reply to him on Twitter might say, of course, it turns out he was a North Korean general.
Absolutely. So Bond tries to kill Zhao at this point.
Yeah,
but
here's
because he's a
another
dick-
natural evolution of ableist Bond is breaking into a hospital to fight the patients.
Yeah, but
He literally
because
just wakes
he's
him
a
up and goes,
dick,
"Oh,
yeah. He wakes him up by squeezing his IV bag.
I've just realised as well that Bond has already had racial alteration surgery. Like,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
he must be very familiar to him.
This is
because
just
this
like
is the
when I was
clinic
the
that
same
can make you
guy.
Japanese.
He went to the reverse clinic of this to become Japanese. Yes.
He must have gone here to turn back.
Yeah, like, James, welcome back.
This is where he goes every time he's a new actor. He just goes to the clinic and gets a new face.
Okay, yeah, no, I believe it now. Fully, that's what happens. We got it, boys.
So Zhao is like mid bone marrow suck, and as such, he looks weird. Partly because he still has all the diamonds in his face, which like there's no plan to remove those. And the white guy they want to turn him into, Owen Jones, doesn't have any diamonds in his face. So I don't know if they're just going to get to those later or what.
Feels like they would be really easy to remove.
I guess, but like, yeah, no, he's bald now, and he's like whiter. He looks kind of like a White Walker from Game of Thrones, I guess.
He's got blue eyes.
Yeah. So Bond,
But he escapes.
Bond tries to kill him, but Zhao escapes, and he like sprints for the exit. Bond and Jinx go after him. She blows up part of the fucking clinic, and then in order to escape on her own, she gets.
So during this scene, debris from a smoke grenade landed in Halle Berry's eye, and she required a 30-minute operation to remove it.
Jesus Christ, Halle Berry! How much did you suffer for this
Halle Berry
terrible
just
movie?
completely going through it in the production of this movie.
Oh my god!
It doesn't show because it looks like she's having an amazing time. I really like her
She
performance
is
in this,
having
but-
an amazing time. She said that
She's
she would
like
do
an-
this again for free, but like she's
She's like an
injured
inverse
so
Harold Sakata, you know? She's doing all of this
Oh my
shit, and it's just
God.
really happening to her. Yeah, so she almost gets captured. She gets backed up against like a big drop off a cliff. And so the way that she escapes is to do the worst CGI dive you've ever seen.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
It's real bad.
She like leans backwards without her back moving at all and just goes over and escapes.
Yeah, they basically put her on one of the. I think they put her in the green screen suit, green screened her in, and then just put her on one of those heart rate test tilt tables that you go on if you have a heart condition, if they want to see how to stress you out. That's what happened.
They just put her on the body of one of those dead or alive volleyball players.
Oh, and Bond finds a diamond. He finds some diamonds from, I guess, Zhao's face.
Yeah, he gets next clue.
No, it was in his necklace.
It was in his necklace.
It was what he was using to pay the clinic.
Okay. Well, he finds those diamonds. He brings them back to Zukovsky brackets Cuban, who finds a maker's mark on them from Gustav Graves, billionaire industrialist. But curiously, the diamond itself is a Sierra Leonean conflict diamond. So it's like being laundered by this guy Graves, who is claiming to mine them in Iceland.
Not entirely clear how you can tell. He says they're chemically identical to South African conflict diamonds, and my notes say, what, they're carbon? Like, aren't all diamonds kind of identical?
It's somewhat reasonable that there would be some mix and some imperfections, but it's not, I don't know. It's a little strange.
Here's the thing. There is a way to determine that diamonds aren't conflict diamonds, but like so many things, it's nothing to do with like a special laser that you shoot into the diamond to see if it's the real thing. It's just documenting every step of where it comes from. It's called the Kimberley process. It's the real thing.
We do. So Bond's like, I gotta go find Gustav Graves. And at this point, we see Gustav Graves.
We're doing the Moonraker thing again, like, because he's got the diamonds on him. And Bond says, right, well, I immediately suspect Gustav Graves, diamond billionaire. But it could, why him? It could have been anyone in his organization. Zhao could have stolen these.
It's his name.
But he could have stolen them. He could have found them. They might not be connected at all. It's really fucking tenuous.
His name is Gustav Graves. It sounds pretty fucking.
It's the Moonraker thing again. We're just going, something's fucked up. My computer's broken. Go and find Bill Gates.
We see Gustav Graves, and here the nonce parachute makes a return from the spy who loved me,
which I like, because this guy's obviously a villain, and they're like, okay, let's make him do the shit that Bond did like 20 years ago.
He's a dark mirror of James Bond. That's never been done before.
Up. It's fine. At least they didn't fucking make him a large blonde man. It's fine.
We see him parachuting under the nonce parachute with the Union Jack on it into Buckingham Palace to go and get knighted, and he's the smuggest looking British man you've ever heard.
Incredible job.
He delivers this fantastic line, because we learn that his passion is fencing, and he says with this ultimate British sneer,
as they say in fencing, what's the point?
Which is purely a John Taliban line.
Yeah,
I guess I don't know what they say in the fencing business. But also
He's played by an actor named Toby Stephens, who is so good. I love him in this. He plays this character in everything I've ever seen him in. He was one of the villains in the Sharp remakes. Like, he's so fantastic. He's
if you want British sneer, he is your man. Yeah, but the thing
he's
is...
Evil Milo. He's amazing.
The thing that I wrote down, he isn't Evil Milo. He's Sir Miles Axelrod from Cars 2. He has the exact same affect as Sir Miles Axelrod, the Land Rover from Cars 2.
The trans Land Rover from Cars 2, played by
That's right. He has the same smirk even. I posted about it on the account.
It's extremely funny.
The Trans Rover, yes.
My two notes here, I've got only two. The first one is that just in comparison, they've done like shots. You've been in Cuba, you've been nominally in North Korea. Like, there are beautiful parts of the world, and then it does an aerial shot of London. I just wrote, oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, fuck's sake.
God's sake. And the second thing is he offhandedly mentions fencing, and it's just like, he fences now. Now time to go to fencing location.
Well, not yet, because Bond has to come to London in order to see this. And the way that he does this is he gets on a British Airlines flight in a little commercial for British Airlines, gets his fucking like little nonce martini while the Clash's London Calling plays.
Fuck off.
Bizarre choice.
Fuck off.
Bizarre.
London Calling? I'm fucking hitting snooze. Fuck this.
The thing about London Calling is it's a song about going to London, and that's why it's apt here.
Also, do you feel a lot of movies like this, they like to set up right now, remember, Bond is currently a fugitive from the British state and intelligence
flying
services,
back
right?
to Britain on British Airways under his own name. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
he is.
what they love to do is they love to set up these problems and then just sort of live in the world of that problem for like as long as it takes for that problem to be boring to write about. Then they forget about it and pretend it's not there, which is incredibly lazy writing.
Yeah,
Cool.
no, this happens every time Bond goes rogue, which by my count is like 3 or 4 in the whole series. Is whichever M it is like, right, hunt him to the ends of the earth or until you get bored.
Yeah.
He's come to London and they're like, all right, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah, well, he's bound to come over here at some point. I guess we'll just
he'll
wait.
definitely swing through. Just give it a minute.
So Bond goes to Graves' fencing club. Where Madonna is there for some fucking reason as a fencing instructor.
In an amazing dress, though. Love that leather lace-up back dress.
Oh my!
I missed
Real
those
nice.
actually. I didn't realize that was Madonna. I'll be honest with you.
That's Madonna. That is Madonna. She's absolutely fucking welded into that corset.
And totally a 5-minute conversation that really contributes to the plot and character development. It really doesn't drag at all.
She's like, you seem horny. Like genuinely, his line is, and this is such a weird line read, I had to capture it.
I have been known to keep my tip up.
Like, I'm not sure why that appeals to me.
Yeah, my penis points way up.
Yeah, my penis points
Straight
all
up,
the way
baby.
up.
Due north, easy.
It goes all the way up into the Inguinal Canal. Yes.
Jesus.
We learn a little something about Miranda Frost, the very, very English blonde lady who's Gustav Graves' publicist.
And sparring
We learn
partner.
that she's an amazing fencer and sparring partner. She won gold at the Sydney Olympics when her opponent overdosed on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
That will become important
Yeah,
later.
fucking fencers.
And then
Absolute
Bond does his signature move.
steroid
Yeah,
guys. Yeah.
Brosnan Bond does the classic
I'm
Brosnan
telling you, it's
Bond
his
move.
thing.
Fourth
He
time.
simply walks up to the guy, shows him the evidence of the crime he knows he's committed, and suavely goes, "Hey, you do any crimes?
Yeah.
Do any crimes lately? How about this crime you did?
Hey,
Remember
buddy.
that?"
Criminal says
Any
what?
crimes recently?
He
Like, what do you
shows him the fucking diamond with his mark on it that he took from Zhao, and he's like, maybe we could fence for this."
Yeah, it's the same. It's the octopusy thing again. And then Gustav Graves goes, "Well, diamonds are for everyone." Sucking our own dicks.
And
Well, they are forever.
oh, that's an awful
It's a
lot
lot
of
like
ice.
the last diamond space laser we had. Fuck you.
That's an awful lot of ice, bitch.
Anyway, they have a sword fight.
They have a sword fight. Gustav Graves, like his thing is like, he's provoked by Bond into fighting to first blood instead of points for the diamond. And we see that Graves's thing is he gets super, super angry for some reason. He gets like uncontrollably mad. And like he almost kills Bond. Also, they fight through this entire club.
They use every sword in the fucking book.
Well, here's the thing. There's a little bit of a racial subtext here, because by the end of it, Graves has a katana and Bond has a claymore. So
Yeah,
it's
right?
a kind of a fucking...
I'm so glad you noted
interesting.
that as well. It's very interesting.
Yeah, but Graves just knocks over this stand of katanas and he's like, gonna use this for some reason. Not important. So, yeah, Bond wins just about. And we
For
see...
anyone yells at us, we know the katana's not a Korean weapon.
No, but
Shut
the
up,
movie
fuck off.
doesn't.
Movie doesn't.
So the thing is, like, one of the things that I think Toby Stephens does quite well is that once Bond wins, he like switches instantly back into like affable British sneer mode.
It's
She's
really
like,
good.
well,
Yeah.
it's only a little bit of sport, isn't it? I don't know why I always got a more.
Seems you've beaten me, Mr. Bond.
It's a little bit of sport, isn't it?
A little bit of sport.
Fence to first blood on my
He says,
birthday,
I'm
would
doing
you?
a little bit of a scientific demonstration in Iceland this weekend. You should come on by.
Yeah.
Would you pop on by to the Ice Hotel, Mr. Chapo?
Yeah, you who we and I have been locked in a life or death battle. You who are clearly some kind of agent of the state that has presented me with evidence of what I'm trying to do.
Even if I didn't know that already, for reasons that we'll get to. Yes.
Why don't you come to my secret villain lab so I can kill you with a series of slow-moving lasers?
But
I've developed a new fuel called All-in-All. It's gonna.
But Bond flirts outrageously with Miranda Frost, and she's just like, no.
It's very good.
Yeah.
It would be, but
yes. I mean, it would be, but the thing is that Miranda Frost, every fucking scene, she's like, I'm not going to have sex with James Bond.
I'm
and she's
not
looking
going to have
straight
sex
into
with
the
him.
camera.
He's
and I'm
repulsive,
like, you're gonna have
and
sex
I'm
with James
not going
Bond.
to have sex.
I know you're gonna fucking do it.
That's right.
I refuse.
So M secretly brings Bond back into the fold by giving him a key to an abandoned tube station. And he walks around. He goes, it's the abandoned station for abandoned agents. And they talk
reused
about how
this idea in Skyfall again.
Yes, they talk about how the world has changed. And at this point, I wrote down, does Bond know that 9/11 has happened? And if so, how does he know that 9/11?
He's just getting on the plane back to London. Like, well, security's really
Why
stitched
the
up.
fuck do I have fuck do I have to take my shoes off? What? Where did this come in?
James Bond.
What do you mean I have to give you my box
My
cutter?
headcanon is that he genuinely doesn't know about it and never learns.
Yeah, Bond never learns what 9/11 is. He's like, why can't I take my Walther on the plane with me anymore? So Bond James Bond.
So M suspects Gustav Graves and is like,
Yes.
Allegedly he found diamonds in Iceland all of a sudden. They're conflict diamonds because they're made of carbon.
Yes.
So anyway, come back into the fold. Go to Iceland and find out what this dude's deal is.
Once again, as Riley points out, we do this thing of set up a plot thread and then just forget about it, which is she goes, be careful about this because I guess like Carver in Tomorrow Never Dies, he's politically connected. That's why this has to be like a secret mission.
Yeah.
It's so
like,
funny, for this just doesn't ever come up again in
No,
any fucking
never,
conceivable
never.
way.
Not ever.
It's just like, no, you can't directly confront him because he's politically connected, ? And then he just never, ever, ever comes up again. Perfect movie. Scripted.
I don't think they ever really do that in the James Bond films, despite the fact that it would be like a really, really good thing to add attention. They never really actually
it gets close to fucking every Brosnan villain. They've just been like, oh no, he's politically connected. You can't get close to him. And then just never ever do fucking anything about it.
Show it.
And it never stops Brosnan. It never stops Brosnan from going up to the guy and going, I'm James Bond. I work for the British government. How about all those crimes you've been doing? Never stop. Anyway, so Bond wakes up in his office in MI6 where he is cleaning his gun. He has an office for some reason.
It's so funny to imagine that he has an office. He's just in there most of the time. Like whenever he's not doing a Bond film.
Put a picture of the Queen in that he was drinking to and saying "Mom" when he was the same guy.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right. We've seen it once before when he was George Lazenby.
Yeah. Incidentally, because this movie is a massive self-suck, it has Bond's like framed grant of arms from On Her Majesty's Secret Service on the wall.
Yeah, it does.
But no, gunmen have infiltrated MI6's offices for the second time after the time when Bond brought a massive bomb into them. And so Bond has to like shoot his way through. He shoots his way into M's office, where M is being held hostage by a masked man. Bond shoots her in the shoulder, shoots the gunman. And it was revealed that he's been been playing the fucking Oculus Rift.
Yeah,
man.
he's on that vibe, man.
He's on the Bond holodeck. I don't know why they have this. It's a little pair of sunglasses that they let you fucking.
What's this product placement for? Because it comes out of nowhere and contributes nothing to the film. It has to have been
programmed this.
Yeah. No, this is the metaverse. This is Bond predicting the metaverse. Yeah, he's going to a meeting with Mark Zuckerberg.
So fucking stupid.
007.
There's no reason to have this.
When
it does nothing.
He
it goes
shoots
nowhere.
the last guy, there's a little slow-mo effect as the guy flies through the air, and there's a swoosh.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought up the slow-mo. They keep doing slow-mo. And it's so bad every fucking time.
There's a slow-mo shot later of a guy, like, flapping his cloak over his shoulder.
That one's good.
Yeah.
It's you know what it is. It's the slow-mo of a like Master P video from the 1990s, but it's trying to give the effect of being the slow-mo from what would be 300. But it ends up
Yeah.
it just
No,
ends
no,
up
it's
looking
the
like a
fucking
low budget
Matrix.
rap video.
So like Q.
No,
Q...
it's the fucking first post-Matrix Bond. That's what it is.
You're right.
It is. I said this in the pre-show. They have like Matrix envy.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, you did.
So Q is John Cleese now. And John Cleese is slightly sort of more annoying as Q. And he's like clearly setting this up for, I'm going to be Q forever. I will never be replaced by a twink.
9/11 will never happen, babes. Get him out of here. Fuck this guy.
Fuck this guy. One movie only.
Turns out we can cancel you,
Get
asshole.
the fuck out of here. But he walks him through the like sort of like underground room full of like Bond's old shit that they just have in storage.
Yeah, the Bond
Because
museum.
again, this movie
the crocodile
because this movie
submarine.
is a self-suck. It has the crocodile submarine, it has the jetpack from Thunderball from when Bond punched a guy disguised as a woman. It has
Rosa Kleb's fucking shoe with the knife in the heel.
Yes, and what Bond does is he like flicks the point of this heel, which, as I recall, was covered in poison.
Yeah,
and then he holds up that shoe very close to his face, and he sniffs that shoe.
Why? Why does he do this? Why do you sniff that shoe, buddy? What's going on here?
But he also, when he touches the jetpack, he says, "Does this still work?" Which means he's the same fucking
he remembers
guy.
using it in fucking
Same man.
Well, I think
Thunderball.
what you have to remember, right, is that at a big organization, they always keep a museum of every employee. Like, that's just what
That's
happens,
true.
right? Like, at my
That is
day
true.
job, there's a big
Yeah, that's
museum of
true.
Riley, all this stuff. Right, it's totally normal just to be like it's like a little physical scrapbook. That's why commercial rents are so much, because they need to have the little museum of every employee that's ever been there.
Yeah, it's honestly it's nice.
Yeah.
Also,
So-
the script for this fucking scene, you know that they were just there like, fuck, this is so tightly written. Holy shit.
They
got
give
so
him
many
some fucking
jokes.
gadgets, man. And the gadgets here are dumber than they ever have been, and I think ever will be.
Yeah.
They give him a ring that can like shatterproof glass. And they give him an invisible car.
They give him a watch, and John Cleese goes, by my account, this is your 20th watch, 007, because this is the 20th Bond movie. Aren't we good? Hate this.
The invisible car. Aston Martin call it the Vanquish. We call it the Vanish. It turns invisible. It's got guns in it.
So it's got here it is.
Q gives him the manual, and it's really big, and Bond like throws it in front of the target seeking shotguns and blows it up, and he goes, "Oh, I shot through it in a couple of seconds." Like,
Also,
that is the general theme of this movie.
it is very fun that they were like, by the way, we know that you're going to have again another car chase that's going to kind of drag for 15 minutes or so later on. So we have given you
Bond,
enough.
this will come in useful in your car battle later.
We have given you enough weapons on this thing to try to like do a new thing every minute and a half for about 15 minutes.
Yes. Go to Iceland. Meanwhile, we go back to M's office, where we see that Miranda Frost is an MI6 agent.
Ooh. We also learn that MI6 has a culture of sexual harassment.
Yes.
Because M says, you've been a very, very good agent. You've ticked all the boxes. You haven't fraternized with any of your fellow agents despite advances. And I'm like, how fucking often are colleagues making passes at her in the workplace?
She's
like,
quite sort of severe. She's got this like tight like ponytail. And she's like, oh, I think James Bond is an absolute piece of shit. Cunt. Useless spy. I would
like,
never
are you
have
going
sex
to
with
have
him.
sex with James?
I will
free to.
never have sex with James Bond.
If at some point you would like to have sex with James
I will
Bond, you should
never
definitely
have
do that.
sex
Also,
with James Bond.
This scene,
have sex with never.
This scene was shot on Rosamund Pike's first day on set. Just instantly across from Judi
Just like,
Dench.
oh,
Fuck me.
fuck. Yeah.
ooh.
So yeah.
Damn, I hate it when you have to have your first day on set and you're immediately across from the lead actor.
Crazy.
She just goes, I think Bond is a blunt instrument designed to provoke and confront. And M says, yeah, that's why I fucking like him.
Yeah, that's what I said in GoldenEye, baby.
So
cool.
Yeah.
That's
M's like, actually, it's based.
it is not cringe, it's based. So go to Iceland. Go to Iceland,
Bond's
keep
cringe.
an eye on him,
No.
and have sex with him if you want. And she's like, I don't want to.
Genuinely, like we're doing a little bit of a bit here, audience, but like genuinely, the vibe is, if you feel like you'd like to have sex with James Bond, do go ahead. Why not?
Everyone else
From
does.
M.
Yeah, no, it's
From fucking
M. The thing is here, I kind of was on the fence about whether Frost was supposed to be gay or not, and then I realized that would be too progressive for a movie in 2002. So no, instead she's just a bitch.
She's
like
just
genuinely,
tight, that's it.
she's just an ice queen. Something that Bond calls her to her face in the next scene.
In the Ice Palace, he's like, "Oh, Palace of Ice, you must feel quite at home." And she's like, "Fuck off."
James Bond basically written by one of those guys that posts like a picture of an attractive woman being like, how would you open? You know, just being like, I'd call her an ice. I'd try to insult her based on the location.
Well, I would simply do the mock.
Yo, take your girl to the Ice Palace on the first date.
Everybody goes to Iceland where they have an ice hotel, an ice palace, a palace made of ice. It's where Bond
climate is
envisions
nowhere
the
near
pussy.
cold enough to have a fucking ice palace in Iceland.
Yeah, an ice.
Not even
It's an
close.
awful lot of ice, bitch.
That's an awful lot of ice, bitch.
He goes to the Ice Mind Palace. Gustav Graves has a rocket car that he uses to do like cool Playboy stuff, like set record attempts or whatever. And then we see Devon. You have a system, a science-based.
I
system,
do. I
if
have
you
a
will.
fucking. I spent months putting together
It's been
my
destroyed.
perfect fucking theory of guys in a Bond film, that you have Mr.
Yeah.
Surname and you've got Mongo from Blazing Saddles. But it turns
Yes.
out that I'm fucked up. Like electromagnetism and the
synthesis
weak
has
atomic
happened.
force. You zoom out far enough, you can synthesize them into one guy.
Yeah,
and
synthesis
it's this
has happened.
guy.
Yeah, because we meet a guy, big Maori guy, who goes,
I'm Mr. Kill.
Mr. Kill. That
I'm
is
so fucked.
He actually
That
went
is-
on to be the head of the Nightclub Security Association in the UK.
Yeah, Michael Kill. This is one of his 2 lines in the movie, by the way. So cherish that.
Genuinely extremely good. I mean, it's more lines than they fucking gave the Mongo in the previous one, so fair enough.
Who was the Mongo in the previous one?
Oh,
'Cause before that, we had Mr. Stamper, who was the Mr. Surname, but like.
No,
there
you
was
had
a
Mr.
Mongo.
Bullion in the previous one, and then you had.
Oh, you're right.
You had a Mongo, but I don't remember his fucking name because he never says it out loud. So
not
whatever.
important. So yeah, no. Gustav Graves is there to demonstrate this thing called Icarus that he's developed, which is you put a big mirror in space and you create a second sun, and you can use that.
A second diamond space laser has struck the Kill James
I am
Bond podcast.
cheering. I'm hooting and hollering to see another diamond space laser.
And he's like, oh well, maybe you could use this to grow crops or something.
That's it.
Yeah, make a daytime
greenhouses exist.
He just doesn't even
You
try
could-
to justify it.
If only we had some way of warming the Earth more.
Yeah,
Just like,
but
Yo.
this is. They just thought it. They were like, we need a space laser. Oh shit, we're already filming. We forgot to say his cover story as to why he's got it, and we have 10 minutes before we have to release the movie. Someone think of something quickly.
Yeah.
Like, it's at this point we're an hour into the movie and the plot has yet to materialize. But the
Yes.
laser,
So-
then I'm there like, okay, laser. All right, I understand now. I'm back in the fucking seat. Let's go.
Also,
But then they give away the
yes,
twist.
Zhao shows
Because
up
they
and sees Gustav Graves in the machine that makes you white that he has to use because he can't sleep anymore. He has to like sleep in this special machine. And he goes,
Why?
"Oh, how? I don't know."
It's never explored again.
It's a side effect
Yeah.
of the machine that makes you
Genuinely
white.
never brought up again.
And so Zhao just goes, "How's it going, General? What's it like being white?"
So it's just-
Have
love
you
it,
seen?
really. It's
Have you?
great.
It's my cousin.
'Cause
Have
he's
you seen
Colonel
this book
Moon.
by Robin
Yeah.
DiAngelo?
and Colonel Moon goes, "Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've been basing my whole thing on being a dark mirror of James Bond.
Yeah, it's
he's going to be
cool.
so owned when I tell him that to his face."
At this point, I do want to note Tan Sun Moon is one of the worst attempts to create. First,
Atrocious.
I mean, it'd be Moon Tan Sun,
Atrocious.
but also it's a suntan joke. Do you
Real
get
bad.
it? Because of the Icarus space laser.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Because Koreans have names.
So Bond tries to infiltrate Graves's quarters, and he almost gets caught. And the way that he escapes is to sexually assault Miranda Frost. She shows up like, oh, what are you doing here? And he kisses her so the security guards don't look. And he's like, well, you could see more into it.
Why wouldn't the security guards look though? Are you just allowed to like trespass if you're making out?
It's not you're on fucking Lover's Lane, right? It's not like it makes some sense when they did it in fucking Ronin. Because they were in France. But it doesn't make any fucking sense. We are behind a classified fucking secret base and they're not going to pay attention if you're kissing? What do you fucking mean?
And you're outside in Iceland at night. What do you think? You're not going to be having sex. I don't care how much you keep your tip up.
James, we're not going to have sex.
I'm not going to have sex with you. Smash cut to them having sex on an ice bed, which, I don't know
about that, Chief.
But, okay, so Jinx has also done some actual spy work and has been caught and is being menaced.
Well, there's one thing. When she does the spy work to get captured, I also wrote down, this is a lot like the other time when a foreign agent had a grappling hook on a belt buckle on their leather catsuit 2 movies ago.
I hate these. I hate these movies so much.
Bond tries to sneak into Gustav Graves' quarters, gets immediately caught.
Yep.
Then has to kiss Miranda for cover, goes back to his hotel room, shags her, and then immediately goes back to the mine. James Bond genuinely just took a break from his mission to shag.
James
and
Bond.
then immediately goes back to work. Like, what the fuck?
Yes.
James Bond.
Did you genuinely just take a fuck break on the job?
Yes. So Jinx is tied to a thing and being menaced by like Zhao and Mr. Kill. Mr. Kill gets his second line because Zhao is like, this mine is fake. It's a front, but we still have mining lasers that are real for no reason.
Check this out. We've got this. I don't know.
Yeah, and then a second later he goes, "Okay, I'm just going to shoot you now." And Mr. Kill, in the most affronted tone, just goes, "Why don't we use a laser?" And it's just the most I've ever liked him. It's just like, why did you tell her about this if we're not going to use this?
What do you mean we're not going to kill her with the laser? Give me the fucking laser controls. To which Zhao says nothing. He just like looks in for a second and just hands over the controls.
Yeah, fine.
He's just like,
use the laser.
Listen, Zhao respects a guy who's having fun. I don't know.
Why there's 2 questions, right? If they're a diamond mine, and like why if they're not a diamond mine, why have the it's like a Turkish restaurant having like a machining lathe. It just doesn't make any sense. But also, secondly, where are they getting the diamonds then? Was it just that one drop off? Have they been just sustaining this on that one drop off from Korea?
So yeah,
yes.
So also
it's 2 gay men smuggling them in from South Africa.
That's right. There is one other thing.
It's a dentist smuggling them out in people's teeth. I'm losing my mind.
While Bond is having sex with Miranda,
we're gonna make it through this.
She goes, "Oh, I can't have sex with you at all. You're a 00." And he says the most nonce possible phrase you can ever say during sex: "It's only a number." No, thank you. So
008, Vladimir Nabokov. Anyway,
Bond then does some ice swimming. He like the fucking rebreather from Thunderball is back. The stupid little like rebreather
it's
thing.
The exact same thing. Yeah, literally.
It's the exact same thing.
Because
he like swims under the ice, breaks in. Bond and Mr. Kill fight in the laser room.
Oh, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this so much, and I'm going to talk about why I hate this. So strap fuck it. So
yeah, give me like half an hour on this.
Yeah, here's my type 5. So they fucking fight in this goddamn laser room, and at some point someone knocks the controls, so the lasers just going everywhere. They're cutting through various bits of scenery. But
I hate it when my laser gets set to shuffle.
The lasers have like mathematically no threat at all because they choreographed this fight. And then they were just like, yeah, we'll put the lasers in afterwards and it'll look sick. And the result of that is that the lasers have no impact on the choreography of the fight at all. Like, they might as well just not be there. They have no fucking effect on the fight. Why would you have a fight with lasers if the lasers aren't going to impact
They also look
fight?
like shit. They look like shit, too.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what happened is that while watching this, before making this, rather, they watched The Matrix. They also watched Entrapment. And then they watched every other Bond movie and were like, oh, okay, I guess we got to put in these things. You need a laser fight scene and some slow-mo. But once again, they do it with all the aesthetics of a Master P music video.
It's really, really bad.
Jinx seizes control of the lasers, kills Mr. Kill with the laser while he's trying to stab Bond with a hair comb. And then Bond gets to be smug while she's still tied to the fucking laser thing. He comes up to her and he's like,
The girl who hates to be tied down, huh?
it's like, dude, don't fucking, come on.
What are we quipping now? We're quipping?
He's quipping.
He's playing Quip last. You're getting beaten by a Smitty clip.
Leather catsuit in Iceland in winter. So Jinx escapes. And Bond tells her, go and find Miranda Frost. She's a British agent.
Also, don't forget, leather catsuit. It's because they watched Entrapment.
Yes. And Bond simply then waits in Graves's office on his couch, and when Graves comes in, he points a gun at him and goes, I guess I'll have to die another day. The title of this film.
He does it, yeah. He fully just like...
He figures out that he's Colonel Moon.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, hey, Colonel.
Yeah. And at this point, Colonel Moon hits him with the, actually, I'm a dark mirror of you, James Bond. And it really doesn't wound James Bond emotionally to the extent that he must have hoped.
Well, also, it's because they haven't really set us up for, like, this sort of, like, in the Daniel Craig movies, at least make a kind of gesture towards we are going to explore the dark sort of human side of Bond, right? That's what they're sort of there to do. But so they've sort of said, ooh, but what if all of this stuff isn't so fun? But they haven't set that up at all because James Bond's been just having super lots of fun being James Bond. Like, he wouldn't care about a dark mirror. He would love it.
Yeah, the point of the Craig movies is that it sucks to be James Bond, but also he's really hot and cool. Whereas this is just like, isn't it cool to be James Bond? And then the guy's like, I did this as a bit. It's actually sarcastic. It's a satire of you, Mr. Bond.
James Bond is just, Q has given him, in a deleted scene, Q gives him that tank top that says satire must have clarity and purpose.
This will come in useful later, Bond. So Miranda Frost comes in, and Bond is like, excellent, my backup. But Miranda Frost points the gun at Bond. And
because she's the traitor.
Yes, she set up Bond in North Korea.
You know what? I'll give him this one. I genuinely didn't see that one coming.
Gustav Graves bought her loyalty by like killing her opponent, giving her the gold medal in fencing at Sydney by default. And she has taken all of the bullets out of Bond's gun, and she has set him up to be killed.
It's kind of a cheap way to buy someone's lifelong loyalty.
Yeah, well, I mean,
if you killed a guy for me, I'd at least be like, cheers. Like,
Alice got my lifelong loyalty by starting a podcast.
Thank you. They do seem to have this like shared sadism as the other thing. So like they're like, we both enjoy killing.
Come, Mr. Bond.
Bond then uses his. Me and my partner in evil saw you from across the Ice Palace. We really dig your vibe. Bond uses the fucking like the glass ring to shatter the stupid glass floor that they're of course on and escape. Halle Berry gets locked in a room by fucking Miranda Frost. She's just like, okay, I'm just gonna lock you in this room. Bye. She is, again, there's a little bit of like question mark lesbian here because she kind of like flirts with her a little bit. She like tries to like, stroke her boob almost. And she's like, oh, it's beautiful.
She also
tailoring.
Weirdly says like, oh yeah, because like Halle Berry like kicks a guard and she goes, oh yeah, you've got nice moves. By the way, so did James Bond, whose dick was in my pussy last night. Like she weirdly bragged. Yeah, really weird. But Bond gets in the rocket sled and he escapes, and the movie starts getting
the movie starts
bad.
This is the
point at which it becomes the most video game finale.
Space laser.
Yeah, guess what?
The Icarus is actually a big space
Graves
laser.
turns the Icarus on him. The Icarus is controlled by a compact trackball mouse. Which I just love that shit.
So good.
Yeah, it's the main character of the movie.
Is perfect. To me, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Delightful stuff.
Well, but this is where I said right in on our group chat, right? This is for me where the movie becomes a proto Marvel movie, right? Because it's just energy beams, indestructibility, like more than usual. the fucking the windsurfing down the cliff and everything while your hair stays perfectly in order. That happens.
Yeah. That happens. Bond gets like knocked over a cliff and he has to windsurf down horrible CGI, the worst CGI of the movie.
Can I tell you something, right? I remember I saw this movie when it came out with my parents, and this is the point that my parents walked out of the movie.
Nice.
It was this point.
Yeah, so
oh no, you've lost the dad audience. Other than ironic podcasters, that's James Bond's biggest audience.
Absolutely.
So James Bond does some windsurfing, and the fucking my dichotomy collapses too between wet sports and ice sports, because now he's doing fucking both. They lock Jinx in a room. They turn Icarus on the Ice Palace. So they try and melt the Ice Palace. They, Graves leaves in a plane, and they leave Jinx to drown and Bond to drown too. But Bond uses his invisibility car.
Yeah, because he's got a fucking invisible car. Just to
at this point we get a fully 20-minute car fight. Because Zhao
has his own gadget car.
He has a gadget Jaguar to sell more toy cars.
How did he get the gadget Jaguar? Is that just another thing where it's, again, we have potentially interesting things you could explore during the movie? How do they get their crazy shit? All of these things. I always think that this is such a. This happens in a lot of the films that generally sort of we as a sort of loose grouping of people watch to talk about, where they hand wave all of the stuff that are the difficult practical questions that would make for a more interesting movie, because it's a story that you can it's more engageable with. How do they have that crazy car? How do they get the diamonds? Why do they have those mining lasers? These are questions that it's not just a standard little paint by numbers, then go here and punch this guy, go here and punch this guy, quip, sex, etc.
As such, we have to refuse doggedly to do them. What we get instead
is to do this, but the car was semi set up. It was one of the ones in Zhao's base, right?
Was it?
Right at the very start.
Anyway, yeah.
Well,
so the cars are driving through the melting ice palace. They're shooting at each other. This culminates in Zhao's car pulling a knife on Bond's car.
I want to be clear. The fucking space laser is melting the ice palace while there's a car chase within it, and I wrote, "This does fuck."
I don't think it does. I think it sucks. And
the reason it doesn't, it's
also it genuinely has the exact same semiotics as a guy pulling a switchblade in a fight. Is it pulls this fucking ram out of the bumper, but Bond dodges out of the way with the invisibility car. Zhao falls into the water and is crushed by a chandelier and killed. Bitch made. He rescues Halle Berry by driving a car into her room and undrowning her by giving her the kiss of life.
Great, whatever.
Graves.
I've only got 4 notes left. I'll be honest. I stopped paying any attention to this fucking movie.
Graves flies to Korea with Frost. He's trying to do a coup, use Icarus to destroy the DMZ and all the mines in it, so North Korea can invade South Korea. He has done a coup.
We get a throwaway line that there was a coup in North Korea last night, and now the hardliners have taken over. And it's like, whoa, okay, I guess it's kind of a big deal. But then, they're going to use the space laser to blow up the minefield and then simply walk across.
Yeah. So Jinx and Bond infiltrate North Korea again very easily this time. Sneak onto the plane. Gustav Graves is getting his Icarus thing made into a super suit. Like he has a mech suit made.
Marvel.
With a taser in it.
My notes say stupid.
Yeah,
it's really fucking bad.
He talks to his dad.
Bad.
His dad is like, you have to be honorable because honor is good. And then like, his dad.
He's literally like, hey dad, I'm white now.
Oh.
And then to which his dad's like, what?
The line where General Moon says, my son, what have you done to yourself? And my notes say, when you come out to your parents.
There's a strange clinic.
Wait, no, okay, fine. Gustav's trans then. Colonel Chancellor Moon is trans because he goes to a weird clinic and his dad doesn't accept him anymore.
That's right. And as is correct, he kills his dad.
As we all did.
That's right. So Bond
I'm sorry you had to learn this way, Father. I know you listen to this. I'm coming for you.
Bond fights Graves. Jinx tries to hijack the plane, and Miranda Frost puts a sword to her neck, and then this drop I just have entirely for personal use.
Come on. That's it. Good girl.
So
Miranda Frost is wearing
She's wearing
outfit.
something, I'll tell you.
She's wearing about half an outfit.
Good God.
Just about. My notes, I also wrote down good girl.
She fights Jinx, and Jinx stabs her through the chest with a knife through a copy of The Art of War. And this all takes place in a sort of like Pan-Asian onboard dojo.
Yeah.
Like they have katanas, they have like Chinese characters, they have a copy of The Art of War. This man is Korean.
They are really ripping off the Matrix. Like Jinx is like running up the wall and like backflip and stuff. They're really just like ripping notes out of the Matrix here.
It's genuinely incredible the degree to which these guys were like, okay, we're going to have a North Korean enemy. Does anyone know anything about Korea at all? To which they went, no. Do we think our audience is going to know anything about Korea? To which they also went, no. And then they fucking threw as much Chinese shit as they could.
I do appreciate Miranda Frost having the most sort of like predatory lesbian vibes of any villain since Rosa Klebb. You know, I'm always here for that. But it's weird. Anyway, she gets
my
killed.
second note is, Dad, I'm white now. Also, check out my exosuit.
Yeah.
Well, also, Graves is going to do the biggest villain thing that you could possibly do, which is using your super weapon satellite to destroy one of the largest landmine fields in the world. Dastardly.
Well, he is also inadvertently destroying the world's largest, like, preserved nature territory. So, you know, he's killing a shitload of birds. Anyway, yeah, so Bond throws him out of the plane, and he gets sucked into the jet engine and mulched.
I also have mulched in my notes.
At this point, Bond and Jinx have to escape the plane, which is coming apart. They do this by getting into a helicopter and just falling out the back.
Helicopter full of diamonds for some reason.
Not consecutive, but the third time Bond has escaped in an aircraft full of ill-gotten gains.
Yeah, he fucking does it all the time as Dalton.
He's
time he did it with a shit ton of cocaine.
Yeah.
And then when he did it with heroin?
Using dope. So at this point, we cut to what I've described as one last nonce, which is Moneypenny is in her office. She's working on some Moneypenny stuff. James Bond comes in and he fucks her, right? That's what happens. He fucks her on the desk. And then at exactly the point where you're like, she takes off the fucking holodeck glasses because she's on the holodeck.
Just slightly too long scene.
She is jerking off with work resources about one of her colleagues, a guy about whom 3 movies ago she said, you know, this would be sexual harassment to like fucking, you know, nonce me up in a lift. Also, who programmed this?
You did.
Who programmed Bond's dick?
Did Q do that?
Again, another more interesting movie would have answered that question.
Is that why John Cleese Q isn't in the next movie? Because he was caught using work resources to do James Bond dating sims? What?
That is deeply funny.
James Boyfriend Simulator.
James
a full boyfriend. All the different James Bonds.
Ah, fuck.
There's like they've got all the Bonds, and you have to like, you know, give them presents.
Hateful Bond friend. Yes.
They got Brosnan Bond, more Bond, Tsundere Bond, a Bond that's dressed up as a cat. Yeah, cat girl Bond.
Sean Connery voice Katawa Shoujo.
Sean Connery Bond. James Bond with massive tits and a cow print bikini. Just like, no, Moneypenny, you have to milk me.
I demand fan art of this. Thank you. I won't look at it.
That's our next shirt. We've been trying to figure out what the Brosnan shirt was this whole time. It's a cow print bikini Brosnan.
No. You've said that on the fucking recording now. They're going to demand it. God.
No,
Jinx and Bond
Moneypenny, you have to milk me.
No.
Great.
Yeah,
Jinx and Bond shag. End of the movie.
No, there's a little bit of good dialogue here because it's like she's like, oh, we got to take all these fucking diamonds back, don't we? And it's like, it sucks being the fucking good guys, which I kind of appreciate.
No, I think you're missing the first bit of dialogue, which is where the camera's like panning down towards their sex house, and she's like, oh, it fits in there perfectly. I hope you could leave it in there forever.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't want to take it out yet, and so on and so on. It's supposed to be obliquely talking about sex, but once again, I'm struck by Devin's observation that they are essentially talking like two Chinese rooms, where it might as well
one might as well just be putting a diamond in her navel.
Yeah, it's warm for this kind of year, don't you think? Yes. However, I've noticed that the elks are acting skittish. Yes, the elks, when they act skittish, it goes into the sky and is warm for this type of year.
And
very AI.
Brosnan Bond's last move in this, therefore, is to put diamonds on Halle Berry's navel and then have sex with her.
And you know what? That's honestly the final thing that Brosnan Bond does is somewhat fitting to the character of Brosnan Bond, in the same way that the final thing that Moore did was make a weird noise.
I remember I have it saved as weirdnoise.wave.
Please God, give me the. Oh, I want to get back to that kind of Bond, man. No wonder they took a break of 4 years before they released the next one.
Yeah, and as we say, this is the last one before Craig and everything gets fucking War on Terror. But that's the movie. That's a 2-hour movie called Die Another Day.
That's right.
And what did we all think of this movie before we get to our science-based rating system?
It was the most video game. It sucked so much shit. I enjoyed the fact that Gustav Graves had an exosuit with a trackball on it. That was maybe the best thing I'd ever seen in my life.
And a bunch of Sony Walkman controls. Yeah,
very funny to me. But other than that,
I thought they had a really interesting premise in that, did Bond crack under torture, and that could have been good, and then nope.
It's a series of forgotten premises. Incidentally, by the way, lest you think that the writing of these movies is going to change drastically. I mean, it does, but every Bond movie since The World Is Not Enough, including all of the Craig ones, has been written by the same two guys.
Yeah, they only swap out directors. They don't swap out writers.
Yeah, they don't do that. It's the same two guys just doing a job of work of doing here is a Bond movie.
Which is why I don't blame Karijo Fukunaga for how bad I found No Time to Die. He just was given a script and had to film it. It's on.
Let me just blow something else out of the water here. I know I've already destroyed this with facts and logic before, but if James Bond is a code name, why didn't they give anyone else the code name James Bond while he was being missing, presumed dead in Korea? Why didn't he come back?
For fuck's sake.
James, your new code name is Bruce Dipshit. This is James Bond now.
Well, honestly, it's because, frankly, M was like, oh, Bond, as far as I'm concerned, you're still in that North Korean prison. Goodbye forever. And just left him in an artificial coma. So it's fine. Maybe he is still James Bond. Maybe they gave the new code name to Daniel Craig.
Maybe.
This is just Pierce Brosnan, James Bond's reverie while he's resisting torture.
Yeah, it's all the Scorpion.
Yeah, this is just a Scorpion hallucination.
This all happens in the Pussy Mind Palace.
Yeah, he's still in the Pussy Mind Palace. He never left. But that's in the realm of theory, and we have a science-based system.
We have a science-based system.
We have a science-based system on this podcast
called the Scum System. We have a science-based system on this podcast.
Yeah, what is it?
Looking at my watch here. It's the SCUM system. SMUM, cultural insensitivity, unprovoked violence, misogyny. SMUM. How smarmy is this movie, and why is it 8 out of 7?
It is the smarmiest
one we've ever
ever
had.
gotten.
It's 8.
What is the smarmiest score that we've ever given a Bond, though?
I think we've given a 10
Never given anything more than
SMUM.
7.
I could have sworn.
We haven't.
So
no.
Really?
I don't think this is the smarmiest he's ever been.
Yeah, no, I think it's a 7. I think it's a 7.
Some of the smarm also comes from how the writers have written the villains. You British still think you police the world, where it's it's how self-congratulatory it is just from the writer's perspective.
Yeah, whatever. 7. Cultural insensitivity. Korea, Japan, and China are separate countries.
These are basically the same thing as far as I'm concerned. Thank you. Moving on. Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad. This is definitely the highest of the Brosnan years. 100%.
I think so. I could go to a 5 maybe here. You think?
5? Yeah. Cool.
Yes.
Unprovoked violence?
Yeah, good. Unprovoked violence. Bond Bond doesn't shoot a lot of people in this for a Brosnan. Like GoldenEye, he was killing guys left, right, and center. Here, it's not so much.
What about when he killed the two doctors with the paddles?
That's true. He kills two guys who are trying to help him from having a heart attack. That's got to put it pretty high up.
Yeah, that's very unprovoked as far as I'm aware.
Plus the wheelchair thing. Can we say 6?
Yeah, okay. All right. The wheelchair thing is very funny to me.
Okay, 5. We'll do 5. 5.
Yeah, it's not more violent than it is racist.
Misogyny. I will not have sex with James Bond. I won't. I won't have sex with
me at the start of a night. Oh, I promise I won't have sex with James Bond, guys. Me after one drink. Oh God, no, boys.
Fully gone off that entirely upright penis. Yes.
God damn it.
The 2 minutes 30-second pussy clock, it's got to be pretty high. Last time was a 7.
I don't think it's a 7. I think this might be all of these are sort of generic high. I think it might be another 5.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
All right, so what are we looking at, Abigail?
We are looking at a score of 22, which is the highest Brosnan we've had.
I believe it, yeah.
He's gotten worse.
It is the
worst. So bad. Yeah. It's
as far as cinema goes, as far as movies to watch, this is the worst one, easily.
Yeah.
Kronstein Rosette to Mr. Kill,
it's equally as bad as You Only Live Twice.
Yeah.
And it's nowhere near as funny as You Only Live Twice because he didn't even become Japanese.
Wow. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, so, Kronstein Rosette to Mr. Kill. I don't care about the Good Night Cross. Thank you.
Good Night Cross. Q for coding horny James Bond.
Good Night Cross to Colonel Moon.
General Moon.
Yeah.
General Moon. Fine, whatever.
Cool.
Great. Fantastic. Riley, if people want more Riley, where can they find more Riley? Just read your home address into the microphone, please.
I'm moving soon, so I'll give you my old address. You can chase me. Find the clues. Find me. No, you check out The Bottlemen if you live in Canada. It's me and Dan Beckner. We talk about Canadian politics.
And check out, of course, Trashfuture. Check out Well, There's Your Problem. Check out Philosophy Tube if for some reason you somehow haven't.
Check out whatever I've got going on. I don't know. 10K Post, maybe? Yeah, listen to 10K Post. I edit that shit.
Yeah. Ask Devin just what they're doing.
Yeah,
and we will be back. We will be back in time for the horror.
Well, gentlemen, we're going to be swinging along to Craig Bond, but first, a little teaser here. We're going to check in with an old friend.
The woman. Hi, everyone.
Ta-da.
Bye, all.
See ya. Before we get started, I just want to note that due to my naming conventions for files, the raw file of this audio is Die Another Day Jazz, which is just dad jazz, which I like a lot. Thank you for listening to yet another episode of Kill James Bond. We finally got our boy Riles on. Great lad. You can find links to all of his guff in the description. Kill James Bond will return in 2 weeks' time. But if that is simply too long for you to wait, then we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/killjamesbond, which you can support for as little as £5 a month. I don't know what that translates to in other denominations, but I don't care. Next week's bonus episode is Cannonball Run, a movie about a race across the United States with several guest appearances by our boy Roger Moore playing himself. So that'll be fun. We've got automotive journalist Victoria Scott, but I've meandered for too long. I need to read out about 800 names, so bear with me here. £15 and above patrons: Fawkes Winchester, Paint McCullough, Jack Holmes, George Rohack, Thomas Oberhart, Sol Pratek, British Pterodactyl, Nikki, Carolyn Tankersley, Amber de Grazia, Benno Rice, Kit Devine, Max Gamenhart, Amanda Rogder, Sydney Steckel, Hell Bloodhands, Jay Martindale, Kentucky Fried Commie, Jack Bushell, Field Commissar Jen, Big Titty Goth Girl, Mothman, Trip, Timothy Pajoni, Tarp O, Dread Pirate Robin, Holiday, Charlie in the Closet, Zoe Shepherd, Elizabeth Cox, Alfredo, Avery Darling, Alla Owing, David Wickrameratner, Richard Drum, Raoul Leal, James Knappman, Josh Simmons, Robbie Morgan, Kinu92, Millie, and Bon Le Bon. This has been, as you're probably well aware at this point, Kill James Bond. I'm Devon. My dearest friends in the world are Abigail Thorne and Alice Caldwell Kelly. Our producer is Nate Bethay. Our podcast art is by Maddie Lubchansky. And our website is by Tom Allen. See ya.